Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crypto Hour. Today is Friday, the 13th of December. Next week is Christmas jumpers week. Okay. So bring your best Christmas jumper or hat or whatever this other festive thing you can think of, because it's going to be the last one of the year, and then we'll pick up the second week in January. Now, a lot to talk about, and one of the things that's been going on that maybe you haven't seen because it's not on the main news. There has been big ETF convention going on. So it's interesting to see some of the things that have come out of this convention, and there's a couple of things that I wanted to show you that I think are quite relevant. First of all, let's start having a look at just very quickly at the economic calendar to see what we've had this week. So again, December is not a particularly busy month, but obviously the economic announcements come all year round. So Australian, guys, in Australia, you kept the same interest rate of 4.35%. And we had inflation figures on Wednesday in the state. I was as expected, but still stubborn above. So the target rate is about 2%. So we're still at 2.7%.
Luca, you're not showing the chart.
Interest rates were lowered. Sorry?
You're not showing the chart.
Oh, for goodness sake, I forgot to share. I thought I was sharing my screen. Okay. Can you see now? Can you see?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, fine. So Australian interest rates stayed the same. Canadian interest rates came down though. Where are we? Wednesday, half a point, 3.25%. And then the same interest rates came down as well in Switzerland. Actually, it was unexpected. So there was like a 0.5% cut instead of 0.25%. So that's quite significant as well. But the US keeps plugging on because they don't worry about that they're living on the credit cards. They keep spending. The other things today that came out is that the UK GDP is actually going into the red. So this is only for the month though, and nothing really worth of note for the rest of the day. Now we're going to talk about ETFs. Let's have a look at the ETFs in Bitcoin. So as you know, Bitcoin now is around 100,000 roughly. These are the flows, as you can see, in the last few days. It's been quite a lot of money has been flowing into Bitcoin. So if you see the total here, we are now at 35 billion since the start of the launch of the ETFs. We were stopped at plus 17 billion for a long time. And then look at this from mid-October, then we started getting flows of money coming in. And now like every week is, 5 cents. Where are we? On the 9th, half a billion. So we're talking about more than, around 2 billion, but today is not there yet, obviously. Will be at the end of the day. But we're talking about, again, another 2 billion just this week. And also, as been telling you, we're talking about the, how many Bitcoins have been accumulated. So if you do the math, so it's 500, 700, 900, we're talking already over 1 million Bitcoin in Bitcoin ETFs. So that's 5%, over 5% of the supply. The other thing to keep an eye on is the GBTC. As you can see, it's the only column that shows consistently red. okay, because funds are still flowing out of the Grayscale ETF. This is the one that was existing before the launch of ETFs. Okay, it was a Bitcoin trust, was very expensive to get out of. Now it's a lot easier, but because an ETF, so it's got no barrier to exit, but they're still charging 5 times the amount of fees than anybody else is charging. So this is what the pressure, the reason why I keep talking about this to you, because this is where the pressure, the institutional pressure, selling pressure is coming from. And all these red funds are being then, either they're being taken out for people to spend because they've made a lot of money with this since they bought it, or they're getting reinvested in the other funds, so they're getting absorbed by the others. So the smaller this becomes, then the smaller the selling pressure, and the more the effect of new funds coming in will be felt on price, because it doesn't go to buy these tokens, it goes to buy tokens that are on Binance, that are on whatever, Coinbase, Kraken, and so on. So at the moment, when this is all started, the Grayscale had about 630,000 Bitcoin. Now they got like less than 1/3 of that. BlackRock has become by far the biggest one. Fidelity will soon catch up to Grayscale. It will become the second one. So going up to have a look at the ETFs, or the Ethereum ETFs, that has, again, we turned the corner again since the beginning of November, and that was negative for a long time for the same reason. Okay, so Grayscale was selling off, as they still are, obviously it's a smaller amount, but they still are, and everybody else is buying. So now this was negative for a long time, it's now gone positive. It means that this has a positive effect on price, and not surprisingly, Ethereum price has gone from just over 2,000 to almost $4,000. But it's only 2 billion has flown into Ethereum since the launch on ATS. And this is again the start, and how, as the Grayscale gets smaller, then the effect, again, the selling pressure will become progressively less. Now, as you can see, where all the other funds, they've accumulated. You see the BlackRock one, 3 billion. The Grayscale one has sold off 3.5 billion. Okay, since the launch. In terms of funds and the assets under management, the Grayscale Trust is still the biggest one. So it's still worth, although they sold 3.5 billion worth of Ethereum, they're still the biggest fund so far. So different from Bitcoin, there's still a lot of selling pressure to be absorbed. Look at the expense ratio, 2.5% for Grayscale. All the others are 20.25 or less. Okay, so this is why the funds are flowing out of this and going into the other funds. The only reason why there's still a lot of money in this, or in the Bitcoin one, is that because the moment you transfer out, you're liable for taxes. And many people don't want to pay taxes right now. They'd rather defer it by a few years, maybe until they're retired or until the circumstances have changed, before they're liable to pay taxes that by then, would be quite a lot of money. Okay, so where are the things that came out of this? All this, so quite a few. So that's I was talking about this, in the previous hour. So this is one of the reasons why, kind of the alternative that Bitcoin represents of sound money and of digital scarcity is not replacing, and even in many people's, I'm talking about important people like the CEO of BlackRock and other people that talk about these things, we're saying that Bitcoin is competing with gold, is being preferred by many people to gold, apart from the fact of the facility of moving Bitcoin compared to gold. But the other thing is that you can see this is basically how much gold is produced every year, and you can see the production of gold every year goes up because the technology improves. It's easier to find where these reserves of golds are and to dig in and out of the ground. So gold, as an inflation, has actually become higher every year, where kind of Bitcoin instead is going in the other direction because with each halving cycle, the Bitcoin inflation goes down. So that's the one reason why. But now, when we look at things that kind of like things that were said during this, and first of all, before reading what it says, is that these are all professionals. So we're not talking about, they're not talking to normal people. They're talking to ETFs managers and other financial journalists and so on. So we're really just at the tip of the iceberg with Bitcoin and especially Ethereum. That's a tiny fraction of our clients own IBIT, and so these are the BlackRock funds, the Bitcoin and Ethereum BlackRock funds. So that's what we focused on versus launching new altcoin ETFs. So this is Jay Jacobs of is talking for BlackRock at this event called ETFs in Depth. So it's an event only dedicated to ETFs. And this is another document coming from BlackRock. So they spoke about this as well. So how do you size, how much Bitcoin do you invest in your portfolio? Okay, again, this is directed to asset managers. So people that manage ETFs, people that manage investment funds and so on, okay? Not talking to general individual investors like us. So how can investors think about Bitcoin allocation? Bitcoin cannot be compared to traditional assets, but from a portfolio construction perspective, the Magnificent Seven groups, so the Nvidia, Facebook, and so on, or mostly mega cap tech stocks, is a useful starting point. Those stocks represent single portfolio holdings that account for a comparatively large share of portfolio risk, as with Bitcoin. In a traditional portfolio with a mix of 60% stocks and 40% bonds, those 7 stocks each account for, on average, about the same share of overall portfolio risk as a 1-2% allocation to Bitcoin. Okay, so we think that's a reasonable range for a Bitcoin exposure. Okay, now let's say that going beyond that would sharply increase the Bitcoin share of the overall portfolio risk. All right, now what does that mean in numbers? How many funds have these guys got to manage? So what's the market cap that we're talking about? What's the market cap of crypto? So gold, we all know, is about $18 trillion. The real estate market is estimated to be about $600 trillion. And the stock market is estimated to be about 140 trillion. So we're talking, let's say, roughly speaking, just rounding up, about 800 trillion of value is represented by these things. If we even think about a 1-2% allocation of around 800 trillion, that would be between 8 and 16 trillion. At the moment, Bitcoin is worth 2 trillion. So just I'll leave you to do the rest of the maths. But this is, again, without talking about people, how many people are into Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. I'm just talking about institutional pressure that where a lot of countries, a lot of investment funds are starting to allocate around that figure. That can go, depending on country, in some countries can go as high as 3%, but 1 to 2% is just let's be, even just considering like 1% would be about $8 trillion by the end of this cycle. Okay, so we are talking about a 4-time increase from where we are today. Bitcoin at the moment is worth about 2 trillion. And if Bitcoin, there's a 4-time, that would talk about around $400,000 per Bitcoin. What would it do to the rest of the crypto market? When, maybe in the next 6 months, we go into a crazy time like we have done 4 years ago, maybe not, but generally there is a, exponential phase to the growth of crypto that generally is concentrated in a matter of 5-6 months. And if that happens at all, it will happen, between now and June. probably. Then we'll see if that carries on or if it, it starts declining since then. But this is what everybody is expecting. Now, in terms of what happens during this time, and this is kind of again, this is all a presentation done by BlackRock, by the way. It's not my stuff, my data. So this is like they were showing the volatility and the correlation of Bitcoin with compared to global equities. So the red line is the correlation, and the yellow line is the volatility. So we're going from 2014 to current days. You can see that as Bitcoin has grown, the volatility has come down now. Still kind of quite high. Still talking about 50% volatility, which is very, very, very big compared to other traditional assets. But it shows you how with Bitcoin's adoption going ahead, then this volatility is always talked about as a negative factor for Bitcoin. It's becoming less and less. If we were in a world where we would use Bitcoin as a main means of exchange to buy and sell things, that volatility will go right down in the single figures. And then you wouldn't be talking anymore about Bitcoin volatility. And this is the other one. The red line is the correlation between Bitcoin and global equity. So at one stage in between 2022 and 24 was quite high, over 50%. Now this has gone right down. So it's not really that significant. So we can't tell that Bitcoin goes up, the shares goes up, or the other way around, because it's quite a weak correlation. Now this other chart here shows the drawdowns since 2013. So what's the maximum that Bitcoin has gone down? I mean, there is a little, I would say, a certain direction that we can see here. Okay. So we can see here the direction of travel. And although the drawdown has been quite significant, they are tended to start to becoming a little bit more shallow, So, but still, we got to be ready that this kind of market can drop 80%. Maybe next time it's not going to be that much as 80, going to be 70 or 65. It's still a very considerable drop. So it's important not just, getting into this asset class with maybe a percentage of your portfolio, but also to be diligent in taking profits, because profits are still a paper profit until they're in the bank. Okay, so until you might see, and we've all had them, if you've been around in crypto for the last 4 or 5 years, you would have had some tokens that have gone up, maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 times, and then I've gone back to square one. So these things are going to happen. So don't be left holding a dream, and then let it slip through your fingers, because some of these amounts may be life-changing. But you need to grab it, and you need to take the profits when they come. And this is the other one. The last one is, so this is MicroStrategy, and this is some of the bonds that they've issued, and what they need to the difference between when they've issued a bond and when they mature, what they need for them to have been a profitable action, what they've done. So, and we see the size here. So this is like 650 million, 800 million. So there's quite a lot, 2.6 billion recently. Okay, and you can see, so their plan is this: they have an asset that grows as Bitcoin that they're buying at about 40% a year, annualized. So what they bet is that they borrowed money in 2020, and by 2025, for that money to have been well invested, they would need to have grown more than 37.5%. Now, has Bitcoin grown more than 37.5% since 2020? I would say, yeah, a little bit more. And again, from different investments that they have done at different points. So this one in March 2024, in 7 years, it will need to grow more than 42%. Now, the average that they have achieved up to now has been 40% a year. So they will think, well, we pay 42%, we make over 200. The difference is it's a pretty good trade from their point of view. So they've been using this strategy of borrowing money to buy Bitcoin, and you see the reason why. So even if they were forced to sell some of the Bitcoin to pay back these bonds, because most of these get converted into shares at the end at the end of the period. But even if people want their money back, you could simply, with the profit, selling part of the Bitcoin that have been bought with that, you pay for the to give them the cash back, but you would have made a huge profit on top of that. So this is the kind of thing, and this is MicroStrategy have been the first using this strategy. And now, as you read it in the news, every day there's a new company that's doing it. We all know about Genius U. Genius U now has jumped on the bandwagon. They're a pretty small player compared to MicroStrategy and anybody else. But you got Marathon. Marathon is a Bitcoin miner, is doing the same thing. It's borrowed money to buy Bitcoin directly. I mean, they're mining the thing, but they're also buying it. Riot Blockchain is the same. So there's many companies are doing this. And the one thing that's important to understand is that for each Bitcoin that gets bought, the next one is more expensive. And it becomes, it's not a linear equation. So this is going to be like exponential equation, because there is more demand but less supply. There's two things working here at the same time. The demand is growing, the supply is reducing. The number of Bitcoin in circulation on exchanges is at the lowest it's ever been. Okay, so this is why I think you see these things like the US, the US recently has transferred over 2 billion worth of Bitcoin to exchanges to be sold. These are coins that are being confiscated because they were like the proceeds of crimes. But I think that they're doing everything they can to try to keep the price down. So if they see the supply is going down, they're trying to add to this. But this supply will quickly be absorbed. And it's probably what we are seeing in the last few days. Let's have a look. So let me go to a smaller time frame. Okay, you see some of these drops. I mean, as I said to you before, this drop here, we're gone from 98,000 to 90,000. I mean, these happen in 5 minutes. You know what that means? If you go onto something like an exchange, let me see if I can find one to show you, just to see what it means. Okay, do you see all these now? All these are basically buy orders. Okay, so at the moment the price is 100,000, 100, and there are orders all the way down. So if you expand this book, you can see, sorry, not this one. There is a lot of orders all the way down. So at the moment, all you see here is just a couple of dollars, and this is the amount of the amount of USDT that behind any particular dollars. But that would mean to something like that to happen in 5 minutes, it means that they have absorbed all these buy orders from 90,000 from 99,000 to 90,000 in 5 minutes. So that can only happen with a massive sale of Bitcoin in the, really, when you're talking about here in the hundreds of millions, in the billions. So some of this pressure is happening. And we can see in these big sell-offs, you can see here as well, very quick sell-offs in a few hours, and then the market recovers and goes back. And it keeps, you can see, we keep going back to the $100,000 level, But the things are moving extremely fast. And so they are running out. They're running out of basically they're running out of bitcoins to sell. Now, if you look, you can see days. You can see here at the bottom on the right hand side where it says this four blue total 2, total 3, and others. That means that's the total market cap. At the moment stands at 3.5 trillion. This is the one excluding total 2 is excluding Bitcoin. Total 3 is excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and others is all the other crypto coins excluding the top 10. Okay, so if we have a look at this last one, you can see we still haven't yet reached the all-time high from 2021. Okay, so Bitcoin is moved, it's moved over 40% up on the all-time high of 70,000 in 2021. And here we still where are we? Let's measure. Oh, come on. We are still 18% behind. Okay, so actually we'll be more fully visual. So it would take about an extra 20 to 23% from now to even reach the all-time high. So this is what I'm keeping an eye on things like this to say, okay, when is it really? So we can see that things are moving quickly. From the beginning of November, you can see how fast. So these are all coins, excluding the top 10. You can see how fast this has happened. It's almost more than doubled in just 1 month. But it's nothing yet compared to what we had before. So all this move, pretty much compared to the previous one, is represented by, would be pretty much like this. This is the equivalent of that in 2020. Okay, so we still got, we don't know if it's going to be something like this between January and May as we had before. With the top that was in the end reached in November, but here would have been, there's a big drop as well between May, to be honest, between May and July. So there was a massive increase, then a big drop, and then another big increase. But so this is the equivalent at the moment, and this looks very dramatic. But you see, compared to what we had before, is we haven't even gone up to the previous all-time high. So compared to 2021 against 2017, 2018, we haven't really started anything yet. And for me, you can see how here in 2021, how things accelerated once we broke the all-time high. Okay. So this hasn't happened yet. There's still a way to go. So for me, it's actually nothing to worry about at the moment. Still everything under control. One thing that's really interesting, again, talking about that event at the weekend, the one that talk about the ETF event. There is a podcast from Bloomberg called Trillions. And the new episode is not out yet. It's been recorded at at that event, and it was so funny enough. There was like somebody that was a proponent of gold against a proponent of Bitcoin. These are all like ETF managers again. But it'd be very interesting to listen to, because these are not like Bitcoin maxis against gold maxis. These are professional advisors, professional journalists that talk about these things, all the time. So he'd be interested. If you're interested, then just go and look it up. It's available on Spotify, on Apple, but it's it's pretty on the heavy side if you want to look at it. It's not like just a pleasant listen to. Okay. Another couple of things that I've got. So for you guys in Australia, a lot of negative things, but now AMP Fund has made waves by becoming the first major retirement savings fund in the country to invest in Bitcoin. So now it's not a big investment, so it only done 27 million. So it represents 0.05% of the 57 billion portfolio. But do you think they would pay attention because they invested just 27 million in May, and that investment has made them already 66%? I mean, I don't know. You can tell me if your retirement, whatever you call it, super fund or whatever, has it gone up 66%? So do you think maybe other investment managers may be thinking, you know what? There might be something in this Bitcoin thing they've been talking about. Pretty much almost at the end of the things to share with you. One thing, it's interesting. Anita AI. So there is a new token that has been created and launched completely by an AI. Okay, so this is called like Anita AI. It's on Solana. Yeah, I don't know if you're interested. Go and look it up. I don't know if it's already been launched or not. So it was the 9th. The news was from the 9th of December. But if you're interested in new things and you go like a gambling fund or something like that, just have a look at it. See if it's something that fits your thing. But this girl is not a real person. This is an AI generated, and everything has been done to create this. The token, the partnership, right, it's all been done by AI. So let's have a look. Let's see what happens. Okay. All right, let me stop sharing and just open this up to some questions. See if there's anything in the chat box. Good morning. Okay, what about any questions about anything at all? Eric, go ahead.
Good morning. When you're saying that you take profit, my problem is always greed comes in and wait for it to go higher. And I know you have invested in long-term Bitcoins. No advice, but would you sell some or would you wait for it to go up? Because of everybody's talking about 250,000 and millions, and what do you feel?
Okay, and this is I need again. I can't give you just like a direct answer, but it's like for me, anything that I buy has got specific strategy attached to it. Okay, so I have some Bitcoin that is my never touch it, and that's like one lot of Bitcoin that I have that I keep just adding to it and never touch it, I'll never spend it. Okay, that's in a way my gold reserves. Something like this, if anything was to happen, that is something that I will rely on. And there is another amount I use for trading. So that one then has got different different expectations. So I do buy and I do sell at certain points. And that's for Bitcoin. For other currencies, again, it really depends on, we're going back to your plan. So and this needs to be done now, not when the currencies are pumping the currency. So you need to decide now, if you bought, I don't know, Solana, what does it mean to you? Is it a forever coin, or if it's something that you will sell at a certain price? You need to write it down on paper on a spreadsheet now, so you know that when you reach that price, you will sell all or part of your Solana. And the same for any other coin, whether it's Avalanche, Cardano, or anything else. But first of all, for each coin, you need to know, okay, why am I buying this? What do I expect it to do? And when those kind of events happen, you take the action that you decided when you bought it or now, because when things will start moving very quickly, it's very difficult to make that decision. Because you think, oh my God, this thing has gone up 30% today. You expect it to go 30% tomorrow. Well, chances are that tomorrow will drop 15% because people are taking profits or whatever. So you need to decide what is important for you in terms of your overall portfolio, but even if some things might be just a speculation and you think, well, I want to keep it until it grows, I don't know, 1,000%. If you buy a small coins and then you don't mind because maybe you got 10 of those coins and you know the 9 will go down to 0, but 1 will give you 1,000%. That's one strategy. Another one could be, okay, I will get my money back as soon as possible. When something doubles, I'll sell half of it. Okay, and so that I'll got my money back, and the rest of it I'll keep running to, to higher, more, higher goals. So, but it's difficult to say because everybody's like, how many people we got in this call? We got about 20 people, something. Each one circumstance will be different. So the decision that I'm making with my portfolio will be different from, what you make with yours or what anybody else does with theirs, depending on the individual circumstances. So we always start from that. Is that what does this investment, and we're talking about crypto now, but it could be any other thing. What does it mean to you? If you buy Amazon shares, you buy them because you believe in Amazon and you want to keep it for the next, forever, or you buy them because, well, I've got $5,000 to invest and I want to turn them into, I'd be happy to gain a profit of 2,000. So when they get to, 7,000 value, I'll sell all of it. So it really depends on you and what you're trying to do.
Great. Thanks very much, Luca.
No problem. Any other questions? Guys, you know everything about cryptocurrency then. Not asking any questions. It means that you're already completely 100%. Carol, were you?
I could have made a mistake this week, but it was with a small amount of cash. I invested in a pre-sale, and now when I go to the site, I've got access to the Telegram group and everything else, but logging into the site, there's a warning that comes up from MetaMask because I've got to link my MetaMask wallet to the dashboard, and it comes up with a warning. This has been flagged by MetaMask. Don't proceed. And I'm sort of wondering, well, was it a scam? I mean, there's been suggestion maybe it was a scam, maybe it's not a scam, but I looked on scam warning sites and everything, and they said no, generally it looks like it's fine. So that's why, I only took $300 into it, but
yeah. Can I just ask one thing, Carol? I will say so if you invest as a pre-sale, okay, so generally they will sell I don't even know what the token is, okay, but generally the way it works is that they assign a value,
yeah,
to the totality of the tokens, okay, and that value is arbitrary value, okay.
Well, it's already trading on the I can actually already sell 30% of it, and it's doubled in price.
I'm sorry, if it's pre-sale, how can it be traded?
Well, it's actually just finished the pre-sale, and it's already been listed on the DeFi site. So, but I don't know how to use that yet. So I'm going, oh my God, I think I could have.
Yeah, no, generally speaking, what I've seen with lots of ICOs and lots of pre-sales is that on the day of listing, because people have bought generally at a discount, the day of listing, they will say, okay, this token is going on sale for, let's say, $1.
Mhm.
Okay, you maybe have bought it at, let's say, 10% discount, you bought it at 90 or something like 90 cents. Generally, very rarely, a token that's just been launched will jump in price. It generally comes down in price. So the whole idea that you can get a good deal by buying it in pre-sale, generally you can get just as well, just the same price or even lower if you buy 1 or 2 days later it's been launched. So
Yeah.
this is just looking at the statistics about what many things. So there might be some genuine cases or something, you know, really a good deal. But generally
Yeah.
speaking, most tokens drop on launch. So
Yeah.
the advantage about giving them money beforehand, and sometimes it might be a few days, but sometimes it might be months, and you paying something and just waiting, and then that big amount that you expect in the moment you invest, it doesn't materialize. So I'm thinking, why take that? And that is because at the moment when you invest, that's a big risk because you don't know what's going to happen. Where if you
Yeah.
do it once they've launched, well, you can see what the market, you know, what the market thinks of it, what the market dynamic is. So
Well,
why?
it's already saleable on Uniswap
No,
as
that's
of the
fine.
6th of December.
Yeah, I'm saying it's not talking about. You don't even know what the token is, but I'm not talking about your case. Generally speaking,
Yeah.
if you know that something is going to be launched on the whatever 15th of December, you go and just watch it on the you know sites where it's being sold, and you see what the price action is. I guarantee you that 99% out of 100 you can buy at the pre-sale price and lower. So
Yeah.
I don't see the big advantage about taking that risk in advance when you don't know
Yeah.
what is going to happen, unless it's a project that's really pumped a lot. But a lot of these things as well, when they are sold through social media, whatever, I've got virtual capitalists behind it that you know have an interest in pumping the price. You don't know
Yeah.
at which point they're going to take their profits though, and that's the big issue when we new tokens. You know,
Yeah.
you don't know who owns the majority of this token, and at which point they will say, well, we start to realize our profits. We take, you know, we cash out at least part of our tokens, and you're just a passenger. It might be so. It's like in a way tossing a coin. You know, it can go really well, but it can also go really badly. So you need to take it. What I'm trying to say is that if you do things like this, you need to do with a certain expectations as well. So you take in really, it's a big gamble in a way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, so you know, up to you what you do with it. It's just bear in mind, be ready for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look, if I could sell, I can only sell 30% now, but if I sold that, I would nearly double my money already. And just leave the 70% there. And if I never get it, it doesn't really matter because I've doubled my money. But I've got to actually trust, because MetaMask seems to have flagged this. It says, warning, you know, MetaMask have flagged this site, don't go there. And I'm going, but how can I link my account to get the money out?
Well, you can do, Carol, you could do one thing that's very simple. Okay, so
Yeah.
don't use your normal MetaMask.
Yeah.
Go to another browser you don't normally
Yeah.
use. Open another MetaMask because that's a completely different account.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and just transfer the minimum of funds that you need to interact with the website. And it doesn't matter, even if it's it's even better if it's from a different computer that you don't normally use for where your
Yeah.
normal MetaMask is. But if you then, you know, use that different account, then it's not connected to where you keep the rest of your crypto anyway. So anything happens to that, forget it. You shut it down, and you know you only put like whatever $10 or something, whatever you need to interact with the website. You know, if it works well, if it doesn't work, you know, then you're mismanaged. You're not worried about having infected your main MetaMask account. You know.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take your advice on that. I was thinking I'd do that. Oh, that was a good strategy. But yeah, it's just that I do need to learn how to use Uniswap. I mean, I've looked at some stuff. It's just that I haven't got into that DeFi space at all. So it was really wrong of me to buy. I do agree.
Well, Uniswap,
But
to be honest with you, yeah, decentralized exchange at the end of the day, if you just use it, you're just using to buy and sell tokens, it's very simple. If
Yeah.
you need to do, then you want to go into yield farming, then it's bit more complicated. But if you're just using to buy and sell, it's just like you must have used in the past Pancake Swap.
I don't know, have I used what?
Pancake Swap with some of the opportunities that were in the community, maybe.
No, I haven't swapped very much.
Yeah, they're fairly simple, so it shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, I'll deal with it. I just thought I'd bring it up, but it was silly of me, I know. But it's just that the timing was so close, and I thought, oh, because they said it was going to launch it at because it was only 11 cents a token, and it was going to launch at 20, and it's actually hit 44, and then it's come back to about 22, and I'm sort of thinking, well, as long as I get out at that, I'm okay.
As long as you get out of 22, so that would be you would have doubled the money. So you put 30% you can sell, so you haven't got your money back yet. You would have got 60% back. You see, so you see what I'm saying? So this is and
but I got some bonus coupons about bonus tokens. I got 50% bonus, so it actually I will get my money back. So I've got 150% tokens. So I will get my money back as long as I can get that 30% out.
Well, good luck then. I would just hope it's over. Next week. I hope you got like 100 times in your tokens and token investment. Just good luck.
Oh, it's all an adventure.
I don't want to know the name of that thing. Just like, good luck.
That's okay. It's got ETF in it.
Good. All right. Any other question, guys?
Luca, good morning. Matteo.
Buongiorno.
Come stai? So, Luca, I know you don't have a crystal ball. I wish you had, so I could ask you more detailed questions. But look, what's your gut feeling about Ethereum? How high do you think Ethereum could climb?
Yeah, I know it's not like how Ethereum could climb, so it'll be a percentage of the increase in the whole market. So at the moment, Ethereum still has a big place because it's where a lot of the users are. Ethereum or Ethereum derived and other chains are based on the Ethereum virtual machine. So it would be a function of what Bitcoin does, and at the very least we can look at the past high was around $5,000. If we say just as a guess, okay, don't take this as a thing, but just guessing.
Sure.
Even if it was to double, that would be 10,000. That wouldn't be a lot. So generally speaking, when Bitcoin starts moving, and the kind of increase in price that Bitcoin does gets multiplied by a factor for the other coins. Obviously, the bigger the market cap, the least the amount of multiplier. But if we're thinking of Bitcoin from here growing maybe another 2 times, then we could expect Ethereum to be in the range between 15 and 20,000 by the end of this cycle.
Okay. Now I'm asking you because obviously I have some investments in most of them is Bitcoins, thank God. But I do have some Ethereum. I never felt so confident in Ethereum as much as I felt in Bitcoins. But obviously I want to maximize my profits. And, the last highest high was around, $5,000, as you said. I was thinking to take some profit around 4,000 and then probably disinvest completely the Ethereum in the range about $6,000, $7,000. But if you're telling me that I can be a little bit more optimistic than that, maybe I will rethink my exit strategy.
Well, yeah, obviously not give you any financial advice here, but it's just like trying to think what is going to happen in this cycle. So what are your expectation? So whatever price you're selling will be as a be as much as you expect the market to go up, or at least a function of that. So, we're thinking about what are you expecting now? Are you expecting the market to go up between now and June? And if you do, by how much? Then, so you're talking about the general market, like what was already happened, for example, what Bitcoin are going to do. And then we can see now, many days now, if you look at the market cap for the coins without Bitcoin, is starting to grow now at a faster pace than Bitcoin itself. So if you expect Bitcoin to double, at the very least, you consider any other coin that are in your portfolio now will probably double over the same time, if not more. So and with a lot of us that have been in this market, you kind of like you withstood years when maybe you put money in and you were on a negative amount because the price kept going down, and it's a natural reaction for many people. Thinking, oh gosh, I'm back now at break even. I'll sell now. I get my money back. That's the worst thing you can do. That's the worst thing you can do, because then you are now at the beginning of a trend, and you're getting out at the very early stages of that trend.
Yeah.
So just think about, I'm not saying you should do this or should do that, but just think about what do you expect the market to do, and then at the very least apply the same multiplier to tokens that are, as long as they're still relevant. Obviously, Ethereum still is relevant. If you're maybe talking about a coin that you had 5 years ago and now is worth 0.00000 something, then I think, well, it might not do very much. But things that are still traded actively now, Ethereum being the second biggest coin in the market, and obviously, Bitcoin doubled, Ethereum will do well as well.
Okay. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it.
No problem. Okay, a couple of minutes left. Anybody? If we have no question, Jonathan, do you want to maybe say, Jonathan, for those of you that don't know him, I know Matteo, for example, you're new to this. Jonathan is a Cardano stake pool operator, and he runs a Cardano. There you go. He runs a Cardano session as well. So are you having one straight after this?
Yes, yeah, we'll be running from now pretty much.
Okay,
I've
so
got the link.
if you drop the link in the chat box, so for anybody new that hasn't come before, I would highly recommend, if you want to know more about Cardano. There's a lot going on in Cardano at the moment, Jonathan?
Oh yeah,
Let's
spicy.
not go into the catalyst issues right now, but even with the constitution that just been approved, there's a lot going on, and it's maybe if you haven't been involved in any crypto communities before, that's the work that goes on at the grassroots, actually. What is being done to support a blockchain and support its development, and Jonathan is actually there as a stake pool operator to do all the nitty-gritty things that need to be done, and also it's to hear a lot of those opportunities, Carol, that are going in at the at the grassroots level, things that are starting to, and those are the coins sometimes that can do the 50 to 100 times increases, because literally when people are bootstrapping something that maybe with a very good idea, very good background, and then it catches on, and then you could maybe have the effect that I don't know Solana had in the last bull cycle, or Cardano had in the previous one. So coins that go up 10,000% in a very short period of time. Who knows? Anyway, so Jonathan, you put the link in the chat box. So if you're interested in that call, just click on that, and as soon as this finishes in a couple of minutes, then Jonathan's call is going to start. So unless there are any other questions, just remind everybody next week is going to be the last one, the last crypto hour for the before Christmas, and then we start again. We start again in January. Probably the second, I think it is second week, so around the 10th of January. So keep an eye on what the markets are going to do in the meantime, because it should be a fun time anyway. Very welcome, Eric. Okay, so if we have no more questions, then I will close the call now. Ray, I'll get in touch with you a little bit later today, so we can do that. You know, that thing that we need to do. And everybody else, have a fantastic weekend, and I will catch up with you next week. All right.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Luca.
Luca.
Have a nice weekend. Have a nice Christmas.
You too. I love you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Grazie, Luca. Bye bye.